for the arrival of their excellencies and remain standing for the playing of the national anthem and prayer.
Be seated. It is time for prayer. Let's compose our thoughts as we look to God in prayer. Let us pray. Eternal God, God of the moon and stars, God of the mountains, God of princes and paupers, we acknowledge your sovereignty in the affairs of your created order. We praise and thank you for placing us congregated in this space this morning on the Wake for Today list. And we thank you for gifting us with what we need to be ambulatory and clear-minded. We praise and thank you for Jamaica, land we love. We thank you for her breathtaking beauty, her indomitable people, her irresistible culture. And, oh God, with general elections looming, we thank you for our deepening democratic traditions. This morning, we thank you especially for our judiciary and the role they continue to play in the shaping of an ever-evolving, ordered society and a nation. We place before you its architecture and apparatus, and every actor in the various stages of the process. We intercede, O God, on behalf of those being sworn in today. Help them to strengthen the firewall around our maturing democracy so that justice and truth may increasingly be ours forever. Equip them with the resources they shall need to fulfill this awesome task laid upon their shoulders. Be pleased to grace them with wisdom, good health, and strong support systems as they give of themselves in service to nation. Creator, Redeemer, Sustainer God, may you be pleased to bless all of us together, gathered in this space, we pray this in your name. Amen.
Thank you very much, Reverend Johnson. His Excellency, the Most Honorable Sir Patrick Allen, will now address us, after which the Governor General Secretary, Major Dwayne Hill, will read the instruments of appointment and invite the judges to subscribe the oath of allegiance and the judicial oath. Your Excellency.
The Honorable Mr. Justice Brian Sykes, Chief Justice, Honorable Mrs. Justice MacDonald Bishop, President of the Court of Appeal, other members of the Judiciary, members of the Judicial Service Commission, judges to be sworn, Reverend Carl Johnson, pastor of the Philippa Baptist Church. Ladies and gentlemen and guests viewing on the online platforms, good morning. Thank you, Reverend Johnson, for invoking the blessings on us. I would also like to publicly extend my congratulations to you, my friend, on your historic elevation as the first Caribbean national to be elected president of the Baptist World Alliance. Congratulations. This appointment is a shining testament to your decades of faithful service, visionary leadership, and unwavering commitment to the church and the wider society. Thank you. Today, we also formally acknowledge and celebrate the appointments of 10 members of the judiciary to serve in higher posts, 5 permanently and 5 in an acting capacity. Each appointment, whether permanent or acting, carries with it the full weight of public trust and judicial responsibility. Serving as a judge in this 21st century Jamaica means doing so in a period of significant transformation. Digital innovation is reshaping the courtroom, and public demand for transparency and accountability continue to rise. Our justice system continues to adapt without compromising fairness, dignity, or the principles of the rule of law. Judiciaries worldwide face mounting caseloads, limited resources, and I see the Chief Justice raise his head as I touched on that. And the demands for a rapidly evolving society, from the society. Fortunately for us, we have a judicial system not only possessing capacity to deliver justice, but to lead through the changes. Your resilience and ability to embrace modernization while upholding judicial tradition are commendable. It is with pleasure, therefore, that I recognize the judges being appointed today. The Honorable Mrs. Georgiana Fraser, a puisne judge, being appointed to the Court of Appeal. Ms. Stephanie Orr, Master in Chambers, being appointed a puisne judge. Mrs. Sharon Millwood Moore, Senior Deputy Director of Public Prosecutions, being appointed also a puisne judge. Her Honor, Miss Opal Smith, Senior Judge of the Parish Court, being appointed a puisne judge. Her Honor, Mrs. Luciana Jackson, Judge of the Parish Court, being appointed Master in Chambers. We have some judges who are going to be acting as well for shorter periods of time. The Honorable Mrs. Justice Lorna Shelley Williams, Senior Puisne Judge, to act as Judge of Appeal for this period. In the Supreme Court, Her Honor Mrs. Tracy Ann Johnson, Senior Judge of the Parish Court, to act as puisne judge with effect from September 16. Mrs. Kamar Henry Anderson, Master in Chambers, to be appointed to act as puisne judge with effect from September 16. Her Honor, Mrs. Yvette Wentworth Miller, Senior Judge of the Parish Court, to act as Master in Chambers for the same period of time. And Her Honor, Miss Christine McNeil, Judge of the Parish Court, to be appointed to act as Master in Chambers with effect from September 16, 2025. May your appointments reflect not only your legal intellect, but the nation's trust in your independence, character, and sense of duty, as you are called to uphold constitutional values, to lead with integrity, and to ensure justice remains accessible to all Jamaicans. I offer my congratulations on your appointments and hope your service will be marked by clarity, courage, and confidence, and earn the confidence of those you serve. Thank you.
To the Honorable Mrs. Justice Georgiana Jacqueline Fraser, greetings. Whereas subsection 2 of section 104 of the Constitution of Jamaica provides that judges of the Court of Appeal shall be appointed by the Governor General by instrument under the broad seal on the advice of the Judicial Service Commission. And whereas a vacancy has arisen, and whereas the Judicial Service Commission has advised that you, Georgiana Jacqueline Fraser, should be appointed as Judge of the Court of Appeal. Now therefore, know ye that I, Patrick Linton Allen, Governor General of Jamaica, reposing full trust in your zeal, ability, and discretion, do hereby, in exercise of the power vested in me by the Constitution of Jamaica, appoint you, the said Georgiana Jacqueline Fraser, as Judge of the Court of Appeal for the purposes of the Constitution of Jamaica, with effect from the 22nd of September, 2025. Given under my hand and the broad seal of Jamaica at King's House this first day of September in the year of our Lord, 2025, and the third year of the reign of His Majesty, King Charles III. God save the King.
I, Georgiana Jacqueline Fraser, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Jamaica, that I will uphold and defend the Constitution and the laws of Jamaica, and that I will conscientiously and impartially discharge my responsibilities to the people of Jamaica, so help me God. I, Georgiana Jacqueline Fraser, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Jamaica, that I will uphold and defend the Constitution of Jamaica, and that I will administer justice to all persons alike, in accordance with action or ill will. So help me God.
To the Honorable Mrs. Justice Lorna Elizabeth Shelley Williams, greetings. Whereas subsection 2 of section 105 of the Constitution of Jamaica provides that acting judges of the Court of Appeal shall be appointed by the Governor General by instrument under the broad seal on the advice of the Judicial Service Commission. And whereas the Honorable Mr. Justice David Fraser has been granted vacation leave, and whereas the Judicial Service Commission has advised that you, Lorna Elizabeth Shelley Williams, should be appointed to act as Judge of the Court of Appeal. Now therefore know ye that I, Patrick Linton Allen, Governor General of Jamaica, reposing full trust in your zeal, ability, and discretion, do hereby, in exercise of the power vested in me by the Constitution of Jamaica, appoint you, the said Lorna Elizabeth Shelley Williams, to act as Judge of the Court of Appeal for the purposes of the Constitution of Jamaica during the period from 22nd September 2025 to 19th of December 2025, given under my hand and the broad seal of Jamaica at King's House this first day of September in the year of our Lord 2025 and the third year of the reign of His Majesty King Charles III. God save the King.
Good to see you this morning.
I, Lorna Elizabeth Shelley Williams, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Jamaica, that I will uphold and defend the Constitution and the laws of Jamaica, and I will conscientiously and impartially discharge my responsibilities to the people of Jamaica, so help me God. I, Lorna Elizabeth Shelley Williams, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Jamaica, that I will uphold and defend the Constitution of Jamaica, and that while acting in the office of Judge of the Court of Appeal, I would administer justice to all persons alike in accordance with the laws and usages of Jamaica without fear or favor, affection or ill will. So help me God.
To Miss Stephanie Cavell Orr, Mrs. Sharon Millwood Moore, Her Honor, Miss Opal Shauna Marie Smith, greetings. Whereas subsection 2 of section 98 of the Constitution of Jamaica provides that puisne judges shall be appointed by the Governor General by instrument under the broad seal on the advice of the Judicial Service Commission, and whereas a vacancy has arisen, and whereas the Judicial Service Commission has advised that you, Miss Stephanie Cavell Orr, Mrs. Sharon Millwood Moore, and Her Honor, Miss Opal Shauna Marie Smith, should be appointed as puisne judge. Now therefore, know ye that I, Patrick Linton Allen, Governor General of Jamaica, reposing full trust in your zeal, ability, and discretion, do hereby, in exercise of the power vested in me by the Constitution of Jamaica, appoint you, the said Ms. Stephanie Cavell Orr and Mrs. Sharon Millwood Moore as puisne judge for the purposes of the Constitution of Jamaica with effect from the 16th September 2025, and Her Honor Ms. Opal Shauna Marie Smith as puisne judge for the purposes of the Constitution with effect from the 22nd September 2025. Given under my hand and the broad seal of Jamaica at King's House this first day of September in the year of our Lord 2025 and the third year of the reign of His Majesty King Charles III. God save the King.
Thank you. I, Stephanie Cavell Orr, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Jamaica, that I will uphold and defend the Constitution and the laws of Jamaica, and that I will conscientiously and impartially discharge my responsibilities to the people of Jamaica, so help me God. I, Stephanie Cavell Orr, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Jamaica, that I will uphold and defend the Constitution of Jamaica, and that I will administer justice to all persons alike in accordance with the laws and usages of Jamaica, without fear or favor, affection or ill will, so help me God.
I, Sharon Annette Millwood Moore, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Jamaica, that I will uphold and defend the Constitution and the laws of Jamaica, and that I will conscientiously and impartially discharge my responsibilities to the people of Jamaica, so help me God. I, Sharon Annette Millwood Moore, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Jamaica, that I will uphold and defend the Constitution of Jamaica, and that I will administer justice to all persons alike in accordance with the laws and usages of Jamaica, without fear or favor, affection or ill will, so help me God.
I, Opal Shawn Marie Smith, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Jamaica, that I will uphold and defend the Constitution and the laws of Jamaica, and that I will conscientiously and impartially discharge my responsibilities to the people of Jamaica. So help me God. I, Opal Shawn Marie Smith, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Jamaica, that I will uphold and defend the Constitution of Jamaica, and that I will administer justice to all persons alike in accordance with the laws and usages of Jamaica, without fear or favor, affection, or ill will. So help me God.
Her Honor, Mrs. Tracy Ann Latoya Johnson, Mrs. Kamar Ayana Henry Anderson, greetings. Whereas subsection 2 of section 99 of the Constitution of Jamaica provides that acting puisne judges shall be appointed by the Governor General by instrument under the broad seal on the advice of the Judicial Service Commission. And whereas the Honorable Mrs. Justice Audrey Lindo has been granted pre-retirement leave, and the Honorable Mrs. Justice Grace Henry Mackenzie has been granted vacation leave, respectively. And whereas the Judicial Service Commission has advised that you, Tracy Ann Latoya Johnson, and Kamar Ayana Henry Anderson should be granted or should be appointed to act as puisne judges. Now therefore, know ye that I, Patrick Linton Allen, Governor General of Jamaica, reposing full trust in your zeal, ability, and discretion, do hereby, in exercise of the power vested in me by the Constitution of Jamaica, appoint you, the said Tracy Ann Latoya Johnson, to act as puisne judge for the purposes of the Constitution, with effect from the 16th September 2025 until further orders, and Kamar Ayana Henry Anderson to act as puisne judge for the purposes of the Constitution, with effect from the 16th September 2025 to the 19th December 2025. Given under my hand and the broad seal of Jamaica at King's House this first day of September in the year of our Lord 2025, and the third year of the reign of His Majesty King Charles III. God save the King.
I, Tracy Ann Latoya Johnson, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Jamaica, that I will uphold and defend the Constitution and the laws of Jamaica, and that I will conscientiously and impartially discharge my responsibilities to the people of Jamaica, so help me God. I, Tracy Ann Latoya Johnson, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Jamaica, that I will uphold and defend the Constitution of Jamaica, and that while acting in the office of puisne judge, I will administer justice to all persons alike in accordance with the laws and usages of Jamaica, without fear or favor, affection, or ill will, so help me God.
I, Kamar Ayana Henry Anderson, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Jamaica, that I will uphold and defend the Constitution and the laws of Jamaica, and that I will conscientiously and impartially discharge my responsibilities to the people of Jamaica, so help me God. I, Kamar Ayana Henry Anderson, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Jamaica, that I will uphold and defend the Constitution of Jamaica, and that while acting in the office of puisne judge, I will administer justice to all persons alike in accordance with the laws and usages of Jamaica without fear or favor, affection or ill will, so help me God.
To Her Honor, Mrs. Lushana Marie Jackson, greetings. Whereas pursuant to Section 112 of the Constitution of Jamaica, the Governor General may make appointments to certain offices connected with the courts of Jamaica as may be prescribed by Parliament. And whereas a vacancy has arisen, and whereas the Judicial Service Commission has advised that you, Lushana Marie Jackson, should be appointed as Master in Chambers. Now therefore, know ye that I, Patrick Linton Allen, Governor General of Jamaica, reposing full trust in your zeal, ability, and discretion, do hereby, in exercise of the power vested in me by the Constitution of Jamaica, appoint you, the said Lushana Marie Jackson, as Master in Chambers with effect from the 16th September 2025 in a vacant post. Given under my hand and the broad seal of Jamaica at King's House this first day of September in the year of our Lord 2025 and the third year of the reign of His Majesty King Charles III. God save the King.
I, Lushana Marie Jackson, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Jamaica, that I will uphold and defend the Constitution and the laws of Jamaica, and that I will conscientiously and impartially discharge my responsibilities to the people of Jamaica, so help me God. I, Lushana Marie Jackson, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Jamaica, that I will uphold and defend the Constitution of Jamaica, and that I will administer justice to all persons alike in accordance with the laws and usages of Jamaica without fear or favor, affection or ill will, so help me God.
To Her Honor, Miss Christine Marcal McNeil, Her Honor Yvette Albertha Wentworth Miller, greetings. Whereas pursuant to Section 112 of the Constitution of Jamaica, the Governor General may make appointments to certain offices connected with the courts of Jamaica as may be prescribed by Parliament. And whereas a vacancy has arisen and Mrs. Kamar Henry Anderson is acting in a higher post, and whereas the Judicial Service Commission has advised that you, Christine Marcal McNeil, and Yvette Albertha Wentworth Miller should be appointed to act as masters in chambers. Now therefore, know ye that I, Patrick Linton Allen, Governor General of Jamaica, reposing full trust in your zeal, ability, and discretion, do hereby, in exercise of the power vested in me by the Constitution of Jamaica, appoint you, the said Christine Marcal McNeil and Yvette Albertha Wentworth Miller, to act as masters in chambers with effect from the 16th September 2025 to the 19th December 2025, given under my hand at King's House this first day of September in the year of our Lord 2025 and the third year of the reign of His Majesty King Charles III. God save the King.
Next time, sir. Morning. Thank you. I, Christine Marcal McNeil, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Jamaica, that I will uphold and defend the Constitution and the laws of Jamaica, and that I will conscientiously and impartially discharge my responsibilities to the people of Jamaica, so help me God. I, Christine Marcal McNeil, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Jamaica, that I will uphold and defend the Constitution of Jamaica, and that while acting in the office of Master in Chambers, I will administer justice to all persons alike in accordance with the laws and usages of Jamaica without fear or favor, affection or ill will, so help me God.
I, Yvette Albertha Wentworth Miller, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Jamaica, that I will uphold and defend the Constitution and laws of Jamaica, and that I will conscientiously and impartially discharge my responsibilities to the people of Jamaica, so help me God. I, Yvette Albertha Wentworth Miller, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Jamaica, that I will uphold and defend the Constitution of Jamaica, and that while acting in the office of Master in Chambers, I will administer justice to all persons alike in accordance with the laws and usages of Jamaica without fear or favor, affection or ill will, so help me God.
Thank you, Your Excellency.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Thank you very much, Major Dwayne Hill, and congratulations, judges. I now invite the President of the Court of Appeal, the Honorable Mrs. Justice McDonnell Bishop, to give her remarks.
Your Excellency, the Most Honorable Sir Linton Allen, Governor General, Honorable Mr. Justice Brian Sykes, Chief Justice, Justice Dr. Chantal Onanao, I'm sure I don't get that right, but visiting judge of the Caribbean Court of Justice, Justice Patrick Brooks, retired president of the Court of Appeal, judges of the Court of Appeal and the Supreme Court serving and retired, and I salute Justice Lloyd Hibbert, a former judge of the Supreme Court, retired judge of the Supreme Court. Members of the Judicial Service Commission, Chief Parish Court Judge, if present, and Masters in Chambers, Senior Parish Court Judges and Parish Court Judges, Reverend Carl B. Johnson, most beloved historic pastor of the historic Filippo Baptist Church, of which I am a member, and the Chief Justice is a member. Newly appointed judicial officers, family and friends of the newly appointed judicial officers, personnel and staff of the Supreme Court and the Court of Appeal and Court Administration Division, members of the media, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, both present and online, good morning. It is both an honor and a responsibility to address you today on this occasion dedicated to the appointment of 10, I think my count, correct me, members of the judiciary, notably an all-female group. This is in keeping with the modern trend, which I find troubling, despite the fact that I am a female, and the Chief Justice whispered to me that we soon have to take affirmative action on behalf of the men. But that's a matter for another day. You may read my article on the United Nations website where I ask, whither the men? It gives you an insight into the gender imbalance in the Jamaican judiciary that we as women are inspired by, but we still need to see the men. I thank you, Your Excellency, Lady Allen, and the staff of King's House for your usual kind hospitality and for accommodating the judiciary this morning. I also wish to join in expressing my sincerest appreciation and heartfelt congratulations to my pastor, Reverend Carl B. Johnson, for his historic appointment to the Baptist World Alliance, making him the first Caribbean national to hold that prestigious position. And most of anything else, for his prayerful wishes and exhortation, which we desperately need as a judiciary. May God continue to bless you, sir, and use you for his purpose. As a member of the judicial, before I go on, I see retired Chief Justice Zayla McCullough here, and I extend warmest welcome to you, madam. As member of the Judicial Service Commission and a colleague whose path has intersected with the newly appointed judges at some point during my too long service in the administration of justice, it is my absolute pleasure to extend warmest congratulations to them and to wish them every blessing for a successful and rewarding tenure on behalf of myself and the entire Court of Appeal family. These appointed judicial officers are present here at this time because they have been identified and endorsed by the Judicial Service Commission, on whose recommendation their appointments by His Excellency have been made. In congratulating and applauding them as newly appointed judicial officers, their appointments should not be seen as proof that the Commission considers them perfect, meaning they lack nothing necessary for their judicial role. Not at all. Whether they want to accept it or not, Each of them is a work in progress. But good work leads to good progress. Everyone has the potential for improvement and development in various aspects of her professional life. And I am confident, that's a Freudian slip, I am confident that in time they will get as close to perfect, if not perfect. What their appointment is meant to signify, Your Excellency, is a recognition that they are valuable members of the judiciary who with time, experience, greater exposure, and maturity will become some of the finest judicial officers our country has ever produced. In short, they have the potential to be outstanding members of the judiciary, provided their health and other life changes permit. And I pray for them long life, good health. I must recognize, particularly in a special way today, though, the Honorable Justice Georgiana Fraser, who will be permanently appointed to the Court of Appeal as of 22nd September 2025, after a lengthy but necessary acting period at the court. I will not get involved in the likely yet amicable debate that sometimes occurs among us as judges at the Court of Appeal regarding who is the longest actingest judge. It is safe to say that she has acted for a substantial duration, comparable to at least 2 other judges at the Court of Appeal whose names will remain unknown, but who have spoken at King's House before. Justice Fraser is not only a consistently diligent and industrious worker with high ethical standards contributing positively to the court's work, but she has adopted well to the family-oriented culture of the court with her collegial, respectful, and enterprising spirit. Her story is a testament, when you hear it, to grit, perseverance, resilience, and triumph. She's one of those, like myself, whose appointment gives meaning to the well-known expression, if you don't know my story, you will never understand my glory. Justice Fraser is a pleasure to work with, except when, as co-chair of the Welfare Committee, she demands payment of our outstanding dues. She frequently infringes our constitutional right to privacy, which includes details of our indebtedness and financial embarrassment. However, that is a small price to pay when weighed against the joy she brings to the court, assisting those in need of support and upliftment during difficult moments in their lives. Despite her stern disposition and occasionally wry sense of humor, she has a kind heart beneath it all. I welcome her on behalf of the judges and staff of the Court of Appeal with open heart, open arms, and a grateful heart. I also warmly and specially welcome Justice Shelley Williams' return to the court. She served with us for 1 term, and we were pleased with her engagement with us. We have invited her back for a 2nd time to give her the opportunity to gain additional experience in the appellate sphere and to really show us what she's made of. She's here to assist us at a time when we need an acting judge with some experience in the Court of Appeal. I hope her positive contribution continues and that she will enjoy her 2nd term with us, as I know you will be missed at the Supreme Court. But I'm sure the Honorable Chief Justice will do his best to make the pain of your absence more bearable, if not minimal. I single out as well Master Wentworth Miller. Well, to be, you're sorting today for the 16th, I think. And this is your first time here at King's House, Madam. I extend my warmest congratulations to you. I know if we stand on your reputation for hard work and exemplary leadership, you will do well as Master in Chambers. You have earned the reward and award of the Chief Justice, what is it, award for Chief Justice Excellence Award, and I'm sure you live up to that and you will not disappoint. I also have to single out, I can't because it's 10 of them, but the 3 who have been appointed fully today, Justice Stephanie Orr, Justice Millwood Moore, and Justice Opal Smith. Our paths have intersect many times at many stages in the judiciary, and they know I wish them well. I wish them every success that the post has to offer. Having reviewed the appointments as a whole, and those whose names I have not called, your time will come because you're still acting to be appointed, and I have to have something to say the next time you're here. So having viewed the appointments as a whole, I am confident that the Jamaican judiciary remains in good hands with these appointments. As I extend my heartfelt congratulations to you as you embark on this noble and demanding journey in the service of justice, I wish to share just some reflections at what it means not just to carry out the judicial role with integrity and all the other values that embody judicial ethics and proper work ethics, but to weave into that role the essential threads of what I've fallen in love with, the concept of care ethics. The observer said I said clear ethics when I spoke to the justices of the peace some time ago. It's C-A-R-E, care ethics. This is a dimension increasingly recognized as indispensable to judicial wellness worldwide. I have taken on this advocacy for care ethics to be integrated into the administration of justice at all stages and phases of the execution of our role. I raised the concept with the justices of the peace at a banquet recently in the context of administration of justice when we deal with the mentally ill offenders in our criminal justice system. Today, I am raising it with my colleagues as a notion, a concept that should be integrated while we execute our role as judicial officers. What is care ethics? It is not surprising that the notion was coined by a female. It is a moral and philosophical approach that prioritizes empathy, care, and compassion in relationships and decision-making. It focuses on particularly specific contexts and relationships, but more than anything else, vulnerability. It recognizes human frailty and fragility. It promotes a more nuanced and empathetic approach to ethics, emphasizing, among other things, care in our lives. The approach is widely used in various fields, especially in healthcare, education, social work, and environmental conservation. But it can be applied to the administration of justice in various ways. But today, as we celebrate the appointment and promotion of our colleagues, I find it within this context to be reminded in the spirit of the United Nations recognition of the importance of judicial wellness, of the necessity to look after ourselves, even as you, the newly appointed judges, undertake the new mission that lies ahead. We all know that on March 4, 2025, the United Nations General Assembly passed a resolution declaring 25th July as the International Day for Judicial Wellbeing. This was supported by the government of Nauru. The resolution was adopted by 160 countries, with 1 voting against it and 3 abstaining. So on July 25, we celebrated our first International Day for Judicial Wellbeing. I can only hope that the day got the broad recognition and solemn observance it deserved. We at the Court of Appeal tried our best to make it a reality. I ask that we as judges, and especially our newly appointed colleagues, to not let the energy and effort of the judges who champion this cause to go to waste. I recognize especially the sterling leadership of Justice Raganjiva Wimalasina, the President of the Court of Appeal of Nauru, and convener of the Nauru Declaration Draft Committee, of which our own Chief Justice was an active and member and robust advocate. And I think he deserves a round of applause in his effort. Your Excellency, the global acknowledgement of judicial wellness following robust advocacy on behalf of us as judges should remind us that judicial wellness is no private luxury. It is a matter necessary for institutional strength and public trust. No member of the public wants an unhealthy, almost mad judge dealing with their matters. So mental health is a reality, and mental hygiene and sleep hygiene, good sleep, they say hygiene, which I am suffering the lack of. We need to have that incorporated within our execution of our roles. Healthy judges mean sound judgments, sustainable courts, and ultimately substantial justice for all. Now this, my fellow colleagues, this role of judging and the achievement of court excellence cannot survive on aspirations and intentions alone. The role must be inspired not only by our day-to-day discipline and quiet habits we call our work ethics, but also care ethics, which should filter into judicial wellness and well-being. As judges, we have an obligation to ourselves to take care of ourselves. This concept of care ethics aligns with our duty because we are human beings, even though some may seem to forget that those who administer justice are also humans and in need of care. Fatigue clouds clarity. Stress and emotional burdens affect us. We get memory blocks. Sometimes last week I couldn't do any work because I couldn't bend my neck because the doctor said it was tension resulting from stress. So if we neglect our well-being, our judgment becomes compromised. Burnout replaces patience. Therefore then, as an older judge, a judge who is celebrating her 25 years as a judge in Jamaica and elsewhere, I have seen it by now. I am grieving the loss of a colleague who sits with me at the Commonwealth the Commonwealth Secretariat Arbitral Tribunal, Catherine Callaghan Casey. I wasn't hearing from her for a while, and I got this pressing need to write to her about 2 Wednesdays ago. I wrote to her, I got no response. And I mentioned it to my husband and said, how come Catherine has not responded? I don't like that. Only to find 2 days later, I got news. She passed away. Catherine's passing has taught me that we are all equal in the sight of God. Illness can take us. She was blonde, slim, beautiful, and brilliant. And it taught me that you're not too brilliant to die. You're not too white to die. And my address today is really in honor of her memory. That as judges, as lawyers, in fact, as human beings, we must practice self-care. So I implore the newly appointed judges not to view your freshly minted roles as ones that should be confined to the technical administration and enforcement of the law. The ability to perform the judicial role well is not sustained by intellect alone. And every day I remember my dear former president, Justice Dennis Morrison. Executing the judicial role requires judicial ethics, strong work ethics. However, sustaining those ethics requires wellness, which encompasses physical, mental, and spiritual. Each supports the other. So as one author puts it, self-care is a popular term, but often misunderstood. It's not only about taking bubble baths or drinking green juice. It's about the energy behind what we do or don't do and how we should show up for ourselves. It's about tending and talking to ourselves in ways that enhance the genuine well-being of our mind, body, heart, and soul. So while you concentrate on the court's performance standards, which I'm sure the Chief Justice will talk about, and data guiding our daily judicial work, take a moment to focus on your vital statistics. Women, you must know your numbers. Keep an eye on your bust line, your waistline, your hip line. Keep a tab of your measurements while you search for precedents. Be aware of your blood pressure, heart rate, cholesterol levels, to name a few. Practice self-care, as work without balance will take us nowhere. It can cause serious burnout, serious illness, and ultimately death. So today, let us commit to honor the dignity of the judicial role by discharging it with courage and all the ethical values embodied in our judicial code of conduct. That's one. Second, to uphold the highest standards of work ethics. And three, and most importantly, practice care of your colleagues. Do not contribute to workplace toxicity. Contribute to a healthy working environment. Contribute to the health and welfare of your families, because when the work is over, is your family alone, if they stand with you, that are likely to be left standing with you. But above all, care for yourselves, because every day you look in that mirror, the only person that will be with you until the end is yourself. So embrace wellness as a vital part of being truly fit for judicial office. As I close, I leave you with the words of Eleanor Brown, who aptly puts it: rest and self-care are so important. When you take time to replenish your spirit, it allows you to serve others from the overflow. You cannot serve from an empty vessel. Maya Angelou, one of my favorite poets, directed, as you grow older, and I'm there, you will discover that you have two hands, one for helping yourself and the other for helping others. True strength, my colleagues, Your Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, lies not in unbroken endurance, but in knowing when to rest, when to reflect, and when, above all, to seek help. By creating a culture where care is valued, we strengthen not only ourselves, but the entire institution of justice. So, colleagues, take the best care of yourselves as you embark on this new or continuing phase of your life. I make this address in the memory of a dear colleague of the United Kingdom. Thank you. May it please Your Excellency.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Justice McDonald Bishop. I now invite Chief Justice, the Honorable Mr. Justice Brian Sykes, to give his remarks.
Let me adopt the protocol established by the President. I wish to adopt what she has said, so it will make my speech a bit shorter. But as you know, I have to speak about the numbers. So I wish to thank His Excellency for accommodating us. You would have observed that we are here about 2 weeks ahead of when we usually are. We made the request to His Excellency, and we thank you, sir, for considering our request and accommodating us at this very early period in September. And let me acknowledge the presence of Mrs. Justice Zayla McCullough, former Chief Justice, President of the Court of Appeal, Justice Patrick Brooks, the Judge of the Caribbean Court of Justice, still one of our newest justices in the Caribbean Court of Justice, Justice Chantal Ananawu, and the judges of the Court of Appeal, Supreme Court, judges of the Parish Court, distinguished colleagues, friends of the persons who have been, well, the ladies who have been sworn in, let me use the most specific expression, the ladies who have been sworn in, and their family, friends, and well-wishers. And just to say that their confirmation here this morning is really reflective of the support that they have received over many, many years, through their years in high school, throughout university, throughout the years of their legal career, to bring them to this point. So when we are gathered here this morning, we're celebrating not just the strengthening of the judiciary, but also the very foundation upon which our nation's prosperity rests. As we appoint, whether permanently or acting, these distinguished judicial officers, we reaffirm our commitment to a justice system that serves not just the cause of justice, but the dreams of approximately 3 million Jamaicans, certainly within our borders, and those who are overseas as well, who maintain a strong interest in Jamaica through the various diaspora organizations, because they too have a critical and keen interest in following the development in Jamaica, both political and otherwise. Now, the Chevron's report of 2007 crystallized a fundamental truth in paragraphs 66 and 67, where it says that the rule of law and effective functioning of the courts and the justice system underwrite the wealth and prosperity of Jamaica by providing the legal certainty, clarity, and predictability, which are the essential preconditions of successful investment, commerce, and financial environment. The strategic importance of an effective justice system and its relationship to social and economic development is ever more true today in our shrinking global world with ever-increasing mobility of people and capital. And so at paragraph 67, he continued, there are myriad arguments to be made in support of reinvestment in the justice system. Economic and social development are hampered by an inefficient justice system which has a direct impact on investor confidence. The justice system is a generic platform on which all other sectors of society must depend and build. When our justice system fails, our democracy cannot be sustained. Justice is the bedrock of a safe and secure society and is inextricably linked to development. An efficient justice system sustains a society and facilitates its peaceful evolution. And talking about peaceful evolution, one of the things that we should be thankful for and be proud of is the build-up to this election. For those of us who are old enough to remember the days of the extreme levels of violence in the 1970s, 1980s, 1990s. And now, we hardly even think about the tensions surrounding the general elections, and the legal system has contributed very significantly to that by discharging its responsibilities in a very efficient, fair, and balanced manner. And something that we should also mention too is this, that the Caribbean region remains a beacon of excellence and the example of how good governance can operate, despite our difficulties, because one of the striking features of our democracy is that the executive has consistently accepted the decisions of our courts. You don't have the demonstrations and appeal to impeach judges and remove judges whenever the decision doesn't go the way that political actors would like, and for that we must be thankful for. So, an inefficient judiciary has a high cost. According to persons who have studied this, it can cost a country up to 2.5% of its gross domestic product annually. The cost manifests itself in two ways. Direct cost, that is, drain resources immediately out of businesses, out of the pockets of citizens who are engaged in litigation, escalating legal fees, lost business opportunities, the mounting administrative expenses for backlog cases, and the bureaucratic burden of an overburdened system. There are indirect costs. You have the emotional cost, the emotional toll that it takes on citizens, on litigants, and also we as judicial officers have to be mindful of persons who may use the legal system as a weapon and not as a means to arrive at a just solution. Unfortunately, I have received not many letters, thankfully, but I have received complaints from members of the public who complain that the adjournments, sometimes too frequent, are actually depriving them of justice because it is now simply too costly to remain in the process. In fact, I received one complaint from a mother who was involved in a custody dispute. And she says this dispute started when the child was 4. The child is now 8. And the case is not yet finished. She was complaining about the fact that each time she comes to court, she is told that the lawyer for the gentleman is engaged in another court somewhere in Jamaica. And she is asking, well, when will this end? So as judicial officers, while we apply the technical law, and it may be sound, but every case is about a live, flesh and blood human being waiting on the outcome to get on with their lives. It's not just about the law, as important as that is. It's not just about the evidence, as important as that is, but it's about the human being. And sometimes it's not the litigant. You have a knock-on effect beyond the litigant, the family, because it takes significant resources to engage in litigation, particularly in the Supreme Court and in the Court of Appeal, where they have to come into Kingston to get their matters heard, other than the rural circuits. So just to say to the judicial officers who have been appointed this morning, keep that in mind. So as you go about your duties on a daily basis, it's not just a case, it's not just a number, it is a live, flesh and blood human being waiting on an outcome that they can make decisions about how they live their lives and organize themselves. So at this point, we have 2 judges appointed to the Court of Appeal. So they are joining a court now that for 3 consecutive years has disposed of more cases than cases coming in, and most recently last year, according to our statistician, it's 117.94%. And this makes our Court of Appeal one of the most productive courts in the Commonwealth Caribbean. Now, why is this important? Because when we speak about efficiency, there's always the argument or the proposition that it is antithetical to justice. So far, the data here and in other well-run court systems, there is absolutely zero evidence to suggest that when courts are efficient, the quality of justice is undermined. In fact, what the evidence shows is that it's the contrary. The longer the cases take, it is the worse the quality of justice. So that is why performance standards matter. So for those who still continue to make the argument, you need to actually examine the data, examine the case law coming out of the Court of Appeal, and see if you are able to demonstrate that there has been a diminution of quality of the decisions of the Court of Appeal because it has become more efficient. And if you can't, then, accept the evidence and we move on and we can have a debate about something else, but certainly not about efficiency and the quality of justice anymore. The Supreme Court, not where we need to be, but it has improved significantly, first time in living memory or recorded history. So that is some 17% below where we need to be, but nonetheless we have to be thankful because we are coming from below 40%. So we are moving in the right direction. As far as the parish courts are concerned, they continue to be among the most efficient courts at that level in the Commonwealth Caribbean. And our statistician tells us in the wider Latin American region, and certainly the statistician also tells us that our legal system overall is one of the best in the Caribbean and Latin American region in terms of productivity. So the parish courts have also experienced something remarkable, and that is a reduction in the time standards. So we are now able to say that our new time standard, the outer band is 20 months, down from 24 months. So we are now saying that for criminal cases, the standard cases are supposed to be completed in, or simple cases in 90 days, standard cases 180 days, complex cases 12 months, highly complex 20 months. Why that will be possible? Because the net backlog of cases is now under 5%, which really means that there is no backlog to impede the flow of cases through those courts, something that we have been striving for and that we have now achieved that. So, but this has to be supported by appropriate technology. And this is where the Ministry of Justice, not to blame, but just to remind them that they need to provide the funding for the integrated electronic case management system that we have been talking about now for the better part of 3 years. A visit to Rwanda 3 years ago. The Rwandan delegation came here 2 years ago, and we are still at the point of talking, something that we excel at. Now, the judiciary, I would suggest to us, we have to begin to think of it, though we do so in terms of saying that it's a co-equal arm of government. But what does that really mean in practical terms? The Vision 2030 gives us, and also the Chevron's report of 2007 give us a perspective there. The judiciary forms part of the governance structure, and Vision 2030 is our plan to become a more developed society. And within that, the judiciary has a vital role to play in terms of the timely resolution of disputes. One of the indices that the World Bank uses is the ease of doing business within any particular jurisdiction, and one of the measures is the time that it takes to enforce judgments. And so the longer it takes, then academic writers are suggesting it has an impact at the rate of interest at which investors can borrow money, because the lenders want to know, is there a quick and easy but fair method to collect my debt in the event that I need to take that action? So these improvements, when we talk about the numbers and performance standards, is also our way of contributing to Vision 2030 and economic development. And so to Justices Georgiana Fraser and Justice Lorna Shelley Williams, your elevation to the Court of Appeal places you at the apex of our judicial hierarchy, at least in Jamaica. You will shape Jamaica's legal landscape for generations, because you have to keep in mind that for the vast majority of Jamaicans, the Court of Appeal is in fact their final court. The very few cases actually go on to the Judicial Committee of the Privy Council. So your decisions there are critical, and we have no doubt that you will discharge your responsibilities effectively. To the judges of the Supreme Court, Justices Stephanie Orr, Millwood Moore, Opal Smith, and the acting Judge Justice Kamar Henry, you are sitting in a court, a critical intersection, where, as they say, law meets life. You resolve disputes affecting livelihoods, property rights, conduct constitutional and judicial review of executive action, and create legal precedents, not necessarily binding, but certainly persuasive, both in the Supreme Court and for the parish courts. So your role there is absolutely vital. The timeliness of it is absolutely critical. So we don't want persons to be opting for suboptimal solutions because the processes take too long. And just in keeping again with data, you will notice that persons have been trying to transform what should really be claim forms into fixed date claim forms. But there's a rational reason for it. The data tells us that because on average, the fixed date takes 3.3 years and the claim form is 4.46. That's a reduction of 12 months. So any rational actor is going to try to convince every judge that this claim form really is a fixed date claim form and this is where I need it to be because there's a 12-month taking off the time. To the masters, you assume a role and perform a function that is vital to the efficiency of the Supreme Court. You are what we would call the workhorses of the civil litigation system. You manage pre-trial processes, conduct case management conferences, and ensure the smooth progress towards trial. Your work directly impacts clearance rates and time standards central to our strategic objectives. The Vision 2030 calls for Jamaica to become the place of choice to live, work, raise families, and do business. This is not going to happen without an efficient and fair legal system. And so to all our judges here, you are vital to Jamaica achieving developed country status, if not by 2030, but not far removed from that. And so your work ethic has been recognized, your diligence has been recognized, your proficiency has been recognized, and if we note from the youthful appearance of the appointees this morning, we expect a lot of vigor and energy, and they bring, Your Excellency, not just judicial experience, but they actually contribute effectively to the other activities of the court. And the President mentioned that I'll be missing Justice Lorna Shelley Williams. Well, when the time came for her to go over, they started missing her from that moment, and that will continue until she returns at the end of the term. But just to make the point to persons that running a judiciary is not just about trying cases. There are other committees and subcommittees that they take up a lot of your time and commitment to get the judiciary running efficiently. And so all these ladies here have demonstrated over time their commitment to excellence and their commitment to service to the people of Jamaica, because being a judge, it is really a calling. It's not just a job. That is what is going to keep you up at 1 o'clock in the morning, or if you go to bed earlier, wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning to be reading and preparing and for the next day's work. So it is really a labor of love. So our business plan calls for Jamaica to have a world-class judiciary, utilizing innovation and technology for efficient service delivery. And our appointees will ensure that this objective is met. So the future of our nation rests not on distant promises, but on the daily excellence of institutions, the judiciary, that we have strengthened today with these appointments. Let us move forward together, confident in our path and commitment to our shared destiny. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Chief Justice. I now invite the Honorable Mrs. Georgiana Fraser, who will give remarks on behalf of the judges sworn in.
I must say I was gearing up for the second half of the Chief Justice's speech and leaning back to get that second gear, but I was disappointed. His Excellency, the Most Honorable Sir Patrick Allen, the Honorable Mr. Justice Brian Sykes, Chief Justice, the Honorable Mrs. Marva MacDonald Bishop, President of the Court of Appeal, the Honorable Mrs. Zelia McCullough, immediate past Chief Justice of Jamaica, the Honorable Mr. Justice Patrick Brooks, immediate past President of the Court of Appeal, judges of the Court of Appeal, serving and retired, judges of the Supreme Court, serving and retired, the Honorable Mrs. Justice Chantal Ananawu, Judge of the Caribbean Court of Justice, and I hope I did not do a disservice by mispronouncing your name. Members of the Judicial Services Commission, Reverend Carl Johnson, Parish Court judges, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, present and on the live platform, good morning all. Your Excellency, it is both an honor and a privilege to stand here today and offer words of gratitude on behalf of myself and my esteemed colleagues who have been appointed to the Court of Appeal and the Supreme Court, whether in a permanent or an acting capacity. Today, we celebrate not only individual achievements, but also collective service, dedication, and integrity that continue to strengthen and enrich the fabric of our judiciary. The Honorable President made note earlier that all the appointees are females. She also made the remark that this is unfortunate. For my part, I say that this is phenomenal. As I reflect on the appointments we celebrate today, I am reminded of the many points at which my path has intersected with many of my colleagues and at different stages of our professional journeys, whether as clerk of courts, Crown Counsel in the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions, resident magistrates, or parish court judges, and later as judges of the Supreme Court. In some cases, I have shared experiences with them in all these capacities, witnessing their growth and steadfast commitment to justice. And this has been both humbling and inspiring, and it fills me with pride to stand alongside them today as we take on new responsibilities in the service of justice together. Now, it is therefore only fitting that we pause to acknowledge and celebrate their achievements and to extend our heartfelt congratulations as they assume their appointments. Standing with me as a fellow appointee to the Court of Appeal is my colleague, Justice Lorna Shelley Williams. This is not our first occasion being sworn in together. I had the honor of welcoming her to the Court of Appeal in an acting capacity in January of 2024, and I am honored to do so again today. To be sworn in once more alongside Justice Shelley Williams is no mere coincidence. Chief Justice, be warned, but providence itself. Our paths have moved in rhythm, sometimes side by side, sometimes intersecting at decisive moments. Today, as we took our oath, it felt less like chance and more like a herald of greater things yet to come, not just for us, but for the continued strengthening of justice in our nation. I first met Justice Stephanie Orr when she became a parish court judge in 2010. Although our paths crossed for only a short time then, she left me with a clear impression of being hardworking and determined, someone who could get the job done no matter how daunting the matter. That impression has only strengthened over time. Justice Orr wishes to thank her family for their unwavering love and support. Although her late parents, Eileen and Chester Orr, are no longer with us, their influence endures, especially her father's, whose footsteps she proudly follows in the Supreme Court. She also acknowledges with gratitude the guidance of Justice of Appeal, Mrs. Nicole Foster Puisne, Miss Justice Gloria Smith, retired, Mr. Patrick Foster, King's Counsel, Mr. Crafton Miller, and Miss Monique Harrison, all of whom contributed to her growth and development. Justice Sharon Millwood Moore is a seasoned practitioner of over 20 years at the bar. Our paths first intersected when she commenced her prosecutorial appointment at the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions. Our subsequent courtroom encounters always left me with a deep respect for her preparation, skill, and delivery. She acknowledges the goodness of God in guiding her journey and expresses heartfelt gratitude to her family, friends, church, and community for their steadfast support. She credits her parents, Joyce and Bertram Millwood, both devoted civil servants, for instilling in her the values of honesty, discipline, and integrity. Values reinforced by the love of her stepmother, siblings, and wider family. She is especially thankful to her husband, Dwight, and their children, Sena, Savannah, and Dimitri, whose patience and sacrifice during the demanding years of advocacy made this moment possible, and whose lives, she hopes, will be inspired by the example of discipline and hard work. She acknowledges her mentors, Dr. Eileen Boxill, King's Counsel, and Ms. Paula Vanessa Llewellyn, King's Counsel. She regards her many exchanges with judges, past and present, as memorable and enriching. Specifically, she continues to be guided by the wisdom of President McDonald Bishop, Justices of Appeal, Ms. Jennifer Straw and Ms. Paulette Williams, as well as Justice K. Beckford, retired, Justice Marjorie Cole Smith of blessed memory, and many other judges of the Supreme Court. Justice Opal Smith is another colleague with whom I share a professional journey. I first met her about in 2002 in St. Mary, where she was then assigned as a clerk of courts. Our paths crossed again at the office of the DPP and later in 2008 when she became a resident magistrate. In 2022, she was appointed to act as a puisne judge, and today that service has culminated in her permanent appointment to the Supreme Court. Justice Smith honors her parents, Mr. H.F. Smith and Mrs. Elmine Smith, as well as her siblings Cherie, Dale, Tanis, and Naomi, for their unwavering love and support. To her daughter Shadi, affectionately known as Handbag, she credits you as her grounding rock and greatest inspiration. And Justices Judith Pusey and Pettigrew Collins, she extends heartfelt thanks for your mentorship and guidance that continue to shape her journey. Master in Chambers, Mrs. Lushana Jackson. I first crossed paths with her in 2004 at the Halfway Tree Court, where I was a new resident magistrate and she a freshly minted clerk of courts. She was then still sporting her father's name, that is, Miss Ramsey. We both learned resilience in one of the country's most demanding courts. Her journey reflects hard work, resilience, and determination to succeed. Today, she also honors her village, whose love and support has helped her shine. And that consists, amongst others, her parents, Celia and Gillette Ramsey, her husband, Omar, her children, Lucas and Luna, her mother-in-law, Mrs. Nigel Jackson, and her siblings, Jason, Kenisha, Gregory, Philippa, Melissa, and Martin. We also acknowledge Your Excellency, the judicial officers who have been entrusted with acting appointments, Justice Tracy Ann Johnson and Justice Kemar Henry Anderson, as also Masters Christine McNeil and Yvette Wentworth Miller. Your Excellency, I make bold to say that together, these appointees represent strength, continuity, and the bright future of our judiciary. All these appointees have risen steadily through the service as clerks of court, prosecutors, counsel at the private bar, parish court judges, proving their hard work and perseverance that they are well suited to the higher office and calling of the judiciary. I have every expectation, and it is my sincere wish that those serving in an acting capacity will in the near future be permanently confirmed so that their full contribution to justice may be secured. Your Excellency, for me, this moment is one of deep reflection and humble appreciation. After serving in an acting capacity in the Court of Appeal intermittently over the last 4 years, I have always been mindful that the permanence of such an office lies not in one's own hands. Today's appointment marks the end of a long and faithful chapter of waiting. This is the beginning of a new, fully committed chapter. I am deeply grateful for the confidence that has been reposed in me by Your Excellency, the Honorable Chief Justice, the Honorable President of the Court of Appeal, and the Judicial Services Commission. I thank you for the opportunity to serve in this esteemed court. I am deeply conscious of the solemn trust that accompanies this appointment to the Court of Appeal. As our national hero, the Right Excellent Marcus Mosiah Garvey reminded us, the ends you serve that are selfish will take you no further than yourself, but the ends you serve that are for all will take you into eternity. I take these words to heart. This appointment is both humbling yet weighty. It serves as a reminder that the role of a judge, and particularly that of an appellate judge, is not to wield power, but to safeguard fairness, ensure clarity in the law, and uphold the rights of every citizen who looks to the court for redress. It is a call to serve, not ambition, but justice. This moment is not just an honor for myself alone, but a responsibility I accept on behalf of the people of Jamaica, and in faithful service to the rule of law and the principles that sustain our democracy. In accepting this appointment to the Court of Appeal, I pledge to serve Jamaica faithfully, guided by the principles of justice. My journey through the justice system has not been an easy road, but it has been a purposeful one. I began my legal career in 1995, fresh from the Norman Manley Law School, with my first assignment as a clerk of the court in the then resident magistrates court in the parish of St. Catherine. That 3-year-long experience taught me the rhythm of courtroom life from the ground up and grounded my understanding of justice at the community level. From there, I sojourned to the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions, where I was privileged to contribute to the administration of justice at the national level and to gain a prosecutorial perspective that would later inform my work on the bench. In 2004, I returned to the courtroom, this time as a resident magistrate, a role now recognized as judge of the parish court, where I had the honor of dispensing justice on the front lines of the system. Nearly a decade later, in 2013, the Honorable Mrs. Justice Zelia McCullough, the then Chief Justice, offered me the opportunity to serve as an acting puisne judge in the Supreme Court. In 2015, I was appointed to that office on a permanent basis. That journey has now brought me to this seat in the Court of Appeal, a place I regard of great responsibility and even greater duty. Your Excellency, I am proud to say, mine has been a journey marked by service in almost every tier of the judiciary. Each phase has brought new insights, new responsibilities, and a deepening respect for the solemn duty that we as judges are called upon to fulfill. To those of my colleagues who now join the ranks of the Supreme Court, I say this: the path we walk is not always easy, but it is noble, vital, and deeply needed. Our commitment to impartiality, discipline, and justice is what underpins the rule of law and secures public confidence in our institutions.
But Your Excellency, my story did not begin in a courtroom or a law library. It began in the quiet corners of childhood. It was shaped by people, more so women, who poured their love, wisdom, and discipline into my life. At the top of the list is my beloved grandmother, Mrs. Iris Johnson-Cuff. Though now long gone, she played a pivotal role in my early development. I was not what you might call a fast learner. In fact, I struggled in my early years at school. The art of reading, which came easily to others, was difficult for me. During that difficult period of my formative years, some unkind persons would probably have labeled me a dunce. But Grandma Iris never let that define me. She made me feel seen, capable, and worthy. She convinced me that with enough effort and belief, I could achieve anything I set my mind to. In the latter part of the 1970s, while attending primary school, to secure a place at what we called a traditional high school, you had to face the dreaded common entrance examination. My grandmother paid for extra lessons, and I don't know where she got the money from, because, truth to tell, we were a poor working class, subsistent farmer type family, so money was scarce. Honestly, we were poor but ambitious. So sure my grandmother was that I would succeed in securing a free place at the Hampton High School, she bought me a pair of brown leather shoes and a matching satchel. I was happy and relieved that I had not disappointed her. And for the first year of high school, I wore those shoes and carried that bag with great pride. Sadly, Grandma passed away while I was still in first form, but her belief in me has followed me every step of my life's journey. After Grandma's passing, I moved to Kingston to live with my mother, Mrs. Rita Foster Castell, of blessed memory. She was a force to be reckoned with, sharp-witted, no nonsense, with an acerbic tongue that could cut you to the quick. But she was endlessly encouraging. She would often say to me, "Put your head to your lesson, my pitney, and don't make no boy come fool you up and blight your prospects." Mama always encouraged me to reach high, to keep striving, and to go after what others might have thought was beyond my grasp. Mama stood by me through high school and beyond, through marriage, the birth of my 2 children, and many, many crossroads. We never always saw eye to eye, perhaps because we were so much alike. But Mama was a solace and a source of strength when I needed her the most. I must also honor my maternal aunts, Lolita Cuff, who is deceased, and Merlina Cuff Mackenzie, who is with us today, and standing in the role of matriarch. These 2 women were mothers to me in every sense, showing up for school events, guiding me through the mysteries and growing pains of girlhood, and stepping in whenever I needed them. Auntie Merle, as the surviving embodiment of my grandmother and mother, I salute you. To my sister, Desiree, otherwise called Angela, my confidant and partner in crime, you are gone but not forgotten. I must say a personal and deeply felt thank you to my spouse, Mr. Paul Fraser, my unwavering partner in life and on this journey. Your Excellency, when I decided to pursue studies at the tertiary level, I was a poorer woman than I am now, married and with 2 children. My chosen course of study would take me overseas, but it was not a step I took alone. For 2 years, while I was away in Barbados, Paul carried the weight of home, raising our 2 children, including our baby daughter, who was not yet 2 years old when I first boarded the plane to Barbados. Paul managed somehow to juggle the chaos of diapers, homework, school runs, his own work, and everything in between, all while holding our little world together with quiet strength and remarkable grace. He balanced demands of work, parenting, and life, all while giving me the freedom to pursue my goals without guilt or hesitation. It was never easy, but he never made me feel like I had chosen ambition over family. Quite the opposite. He cheered me on, pushed me higher, and celebrated every milestone as if it was his own. We do not always see eye to eye, as any honest couple would admit, but his support has never wavered, not once. He has been my rock, strong, steady, and constant. Thank you, Paul, for standing by me through thick and thin, for believing in me when I doubted myself, and for giving me the space to grow while holding our family close. I am endlessly grateful. This moment is yours as much as it is mine. My beloved children, Paul Jr. and Peter Gay, I cannot thank you enough. The demands of this profession have not always been easy to carry. Studying late into the night, working weekends, missing school events, you have borne those sacrifices alongside me and often without complaint. I thank you for your patience, your support, and your love. There are a host of people who have been and still are mentors to me in my professional journey. I run the risk of offending because I might inadvertently omit names I should call, but here goes. The late Mr. Dennis C. Morrison, retired President of the Court of Appeal, my former teacher, and the man who stood for me and called me to the bar in 1995. Mr. Justice Lloyd Hibbert, retired, who took me under his wings like he did so many others at the DPP's office and made me one of his protégés. Miss Justice Gloria Smith, retired, always dispensing sage advice and constructive criticisms. President Mara MacDonald Bishop, who did not regard any assistance as too great to offer. Mr. Justice Patrick Brooks, now retired, President Patrick Brooks, now retired, kind and helpful in steering my initial journey in the Court of Appeal. Ms. Justice Jennifer Straw, my resident magistrate, who in my salad days I was her clerk of courts. She was influential in my decision to aspire to become a judge. There are many other judges past and present whom I wish to thank. Mrs. Ellen Radlin, my supervisor at the National Family Planning Board, the woman who encouraged me to return to school and realize my dream of becoming a lawyer. Last but by no means least, my greater family members, my Uncle Lockett, my siblings, Dean, Denzel, Marie, and Shelley-Ann, I thank you. Your Excellency, all these people, along with many others, helped me along the path of my journey, whether through encouragement, tutelage, or some other act of kindness. They contributed significantly to my growth and development. Their assistance has been priceless. On behalf of all of us receiving appointments today, I would like to express our deepest gratitude to, first of all, God, who has seen fit to favor his handmaidens. I would also like to thank the many who have walked this road before us. Thank you for lighting the way. Thank you for challenging us, mentoring us, and believing in us. We are all mindful that we stand on your shoulders. You who have shaped our professional lives with wisdom, constructive criticism, and encouragement. To our families and loved ones, thank you for standing with us through long hours, through thick and thin. Your Excellency, on behalf of my colleagues and me, I assure you that as we assume our several responsibilities, we pledge to uphold the highest traditions of impartiality, dignity, and humility. We are mindful that each decision of the court has consequences and extend far beyond the courtroom, shaping not only the lives of individuals but also the confidence of a nation in its institutions. As the late Honorable Robert Nesta Marley once reminded us, every man has a right to decide his own destiny. In guarding that right, the court must remain steadfast, independent, and fair. The scripture teaches us in Micah 6 verse 8, "What doth the Lord require of thee, but to do justly and to love mercy and to walk humbly with thy God?" Those words capture the very essence of judicial office: justice without partiality, mercy without weakness, and humility without compromise. We are mindful of the privilege it is to serve, not for ourselves, but for the people who look to the courts for fairness, clarity, and justice. We pledge to continue to serve with the same integrity, independence, and discipline that have always guided us. My colleagues, I challenge you to accept these appointments with humility and gratitude, and a renewed resolve to discharge your duties with integrity and fairness. I challenge you to commit yourselves anew to the promise of justice for all in a timely manner. Your Excellency, we make a solemn promise to continue serving with honor. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Justice Fraser. Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of the ceremony. On behalf of the Governor General, I thank you for attending this important ceremony as a mark of your support for the newly sworn-in judges and of your respect for the judiciary. Congratulations to each of you judges. We wish you every blessing in the execution of your duties. I will ask the judges to come to the center for a photo opportunity, and after which, ladies and gentlemen, I will say thank you once again for attending this ceremony, and I do ask you to have a wonderful day.
On how to mark your ballot, easy and confidential. When you receive your ballot, take a moment to read it carefully. Mark your ballot clearly with an X beside the symbol of the candidate of your choice. Use only